are quite the artists, so I'm very much looking forward to seeing what your hyena drawing looks like. I'm sure it will be exactly the same as what we are seeing here. So not much has changed at the den. This female is still just lying inside there. You can see she's got her head perfectly placed. She looks very, very comfortable. There's been no sign of any little ones so far, but it is very, very possible that they are still inside there. They might be brand new, which means we probably won't see them for the next 2 weeks. It's generally about 2 weeks until they come out. So it could be that they are inside there. They're just far too little for us to even see them. So we're definitely going to monitor here over the next few weeks and see what we get. Now, I believe some of you have ID'd this hyena. I'm not very familiar with the clan around here, but I believe some of you have ID'd her as Gwen. Now, I'm not sure on her rank and her position, but judging by her ears and the way that she has lots of bite marks all over them, I would imagine she's a very low-ranking member of this clan. And that's probably why she's off on her own at this den site by herself, and why she could potentially be giving birth to young ones right on her own on the fringes of the territory. As far as I know, the rest of the clan has been kind of seen up in Manyeleti and has been denning up in the Manyeleti, so she really is quite a long way from the rest of them. But like I say, if she is a low-ranking female, which I'm sure she is, then she will probably in all likelihood have to go away from the rest of them and find a den site. Now, it's possible that she has been to this den before, utilized this den before, and so she knew where it was and she's come here to then utilize it again. Like I was saying, the tracks that are around the den, when Jean-Andre and I just had a little look, there's not an excessive amount, but there is tracks going back and forth, which means that she has been here before arriving this morning. So it's not like she's just come in and just found herself a place to lie down. She's definitely been back and forth from this area. Crystal is informing me that Gwen is short for Ngwenya, which Ngwenya is the local word for crocodile. I'm not sure why she's gotten that name. I don't know if maybe, Crystal, you can elaborate and let me know as to how she got this name or why she was named Ngwenya. It's an unusual name for a hyena. Maybe it's because of her character, or maybe she had an interaction with the crocodile. I'm not sure. It'd be really nice to hear from you, Crystal, and if you can let us know as to why she was named that, it would be very, very interesting. But nonetheless, she is still quite a beautiful female. Like I say, unfortunately, she's a bit tatty around the ears. I saw Jamie just now, and she was telling me that she saw this particular hyena get quite a hard time from some others, and so that's why those ears are so badly damaged. All those bites on the edges there is because, as a low-ranking female, she's going to get bullied quite excessively by the bigger, older girls. And you can actually see how well she camouflages when it becomes bright light like that. You can see it looks like just a dark hole and you can hardly see anything in there, but there her little ear sticks out, and so it is the perfect place, I would imagine, on a hot day to spend time as well. It will be nice and cool. There's a nice breeze that's probably going into that hole, so she's really found herself a winning position. And you can imagine for little ones, it's a great place. It's quite a hidden termite mound. It's in a little sort of, it's got like a moat around it, in a thicket, and there's a beautiful breeze that will blow through that hole, so it'll be nice and ventilated, and it is the perfect place to raise little ones. The only problem is that this is in an area where Karula and the cubs spend a lot of time, so they're going to be a threat to any hyena, especially one that's by herself trying to raise her cubs. So in that regard, it's going to be a little bit tough, but now Nick would like to know why low-ranking female hyenas go off on their own. So Nick, the reason is that being a low-ranking female means that the higher-ranking females and the higher placed females are going to want to utilize the best spots. Alright, so if they've now found themselves a really nice den site up in the Manyeleti, and there's lots of food available up there, there's very low pressure from lions and leopard, then they're going to want to utilize those spots for themselves. They want their offspring to survive, and so because they are higher up, they can then push their weight around and take those prime areas to themselves. So a lower ranking female unfortunately doesn't have that luxury. She can't challenge those higher ranking females. She can't try and push them out of dens, and so she's got to move further afield from the clan to find a suitable den site that is going to be easy for her, or not easy, but better for her to raise her cubs. And so that's why she pushes away slightly, and she tries to then find another area where it's going to be suitable for raising of cubs. It's not because she wants to. She would probably ideally like to den with those higher ranking females, but generally the mounds are not big enough for 10, 12 hyenas to den together. So she's got to find her own den and then make use of that there. Now, I know hyenas are supposed to be very, very ugly, but isn't that the cutest face, just sitting there propped up in the hole of that mound? She looks absolutely content. It's about as happy as a hyena could look, or as content as a hyena could look. Very, very, very cool. She seems like quite a character, this female. Well, it's an interesting question that Leslie has asked. She wants to know that if the rest of her clan finds those babies, will they potentially harm the babies? In all likelihood, no. Alright, even though she is a low-ranking member and she does get bullied and she gets kind of pushed around, she is still part of the clan, and they will still recognize her scent as part of the clan. So what you'll find is that those hyenas would arrive here, they would pick up her scent, they would know that this is a clan member, and ultimately that those young ones that are born into the clan are strengthening the clan. So instead of killing them and weakening the clan, they know that that's going to be absorbed in, and later they could be vitally important for helping to secure territory and to secure food sources. So at the end of the day, they'll definitely not kill those. They'll try and look after them as much as they can. Alright, if an rival clan comes in here, then yes, they could potentially kill them, but her own clan, no. Alright, even though she's a low ranking female, doesn't matter. She'll still be looked after by the clan. Now, Cam would like to know how the ranking system works and how it is established in hyenas. Well, it's mostly done through lineage. So as the hyena is born, depending on its mother, will depend where it kind of sits. And so if it's a high ranking female, then generally as a little baby it's going to have access to more food than the others. So that female will chase the little babies away and all the others away and allow her young ones to feed. And so that means that her young ones generally get bigger and stronger much faster, and therefore can dominate the other ones. By the time they get to adults, they are dominating, and the others know that that is the big dominant female within the group. So it's all to do with their mothers and where their mothers are placed as to how much food and how much care that they get. Alright, like I say, the higher ranking their mother, the better looked after they're going to be and the more food they're going to get, and so that's how it's established. It could potentially, and sometimes we do see that some of the females that are slightly lower ranked, they get bigger and stronger, and they will sometimes compete for a higher ranking, and you'll find that then a fight will ensue. And I have actually seen cases where they've bitten each other to the point where the other one has actually died from its wounds. So it can get to that, but generally it's more run along a lineage. And so if you are born to that high ranking female, then generally because of the amount of food and care that you get, you tend to grow up and be a high ranking member of the clan from there. So that's how it's all worked out. And like I say, there are exceptions to the rule, and sometimes fights do ensue. Well, this is an interesting one from Mary. She says, if they're treated so badly, why don't they leave the clan? Well, I would imagine that the reason that they don't leave the clan is because a hyena on its own is really going to struggle in life. Okay, it's going to be very difficult to protect itself. You must remember that hyenas, the reason why they're so successful is because they are a clan. They are able to come together when they are being attacked, or if they need a big food item, and let's say it's lions on a buffalo kill, then all the hyenas come together and they could potentially then chase those lions off and confront the lions to be able to get some of that food. So if this hyena goes on its own, it's going to be far more vulnerable to other predators and also to a lack of food. So life is going to be a lot tougher than just being bullied for a few days and being bitten on the ears or bitten on the neck. Ultimately, they still do get some care from that clan, and they do get protection from the clan. So the older females, if let's say lions had to come in and start attacking them, that noise would attract the rest of the clan, and they would come in and try and help this lower ranking female. So even though they're lower ranking and they don't get treated that well, they still get looked after. And so it's much better to have a clan system that can look after you than to have absolutely nothing. And that's why they still stick part of the clan. But Gwen seems very, very content. Like I say, I would imagine that those little ones must still be very small. Well, here's another interesting question as well, because so Justin S would like to know whether hyenas have been domesticated or if people have attempted to raise them. Yes, there have been quite a few people that have attempted to raise hyenas, and actually very successfully. Funny enough, a hyena actually does respond well to people, and there is a group of people or a tribe of people in Nigeria that actually keeps them as pets, and they walk around with these hyenas on leashes, much like a dog. And it's, as far as I understand, it's actually a gang that is up there, and they use it also to intimidate people. And then in Ethiopia, there's a guy that actually can feed the hyenas by hand and even puts meat in his mouth sometimes, and the hyenas grab it from his mouth. So there are a few places where people have been able to raise hyenas and live alongside them. They apparently are actually not too bad. Once they accept you, they're not aggressive towards you in any way. The thing is with them, though, is if they do potentially bite you, you're going to have a big problem. That jaw is incredibly powerful, and so it's going to do a lot of damage. And if they bite and they taste meat, they could then potentially get that instinct can kick in, and they can then probably attack you quite badly. So it's better not to be raising wild animals. But yes, there are people and places where they have successfully raised hyenas and live alongside them. Alright guys, but we're going to carry on. That is really, really, really exciting that we've managed to find this and to see this hyena inside this den. I really hope that we will see little cubs popping out here at some stage. It would be really nice. Like I say, if she's just given birth, it could be about a 2-week time period before we actually start to see them, but we will definitely come past here regularly to try and see what's going on and to see whether or not she actually has produced cubs, and whether or not this will be an active mound for the next few months, which would be really cool.